What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in for another edition of the NFL Offseason Reloaded here on The Grueling Truth. I am your host, Dan Kornhauser. I'm here with my co-host, my Goodpaster. And this one tonight is the NFC South Reloaded. We're going over offseason grades, all the happenings for all four teams. Mike, I've got 4 questions. Per team. We've got 4 teams in the division. Are you ready for the NFC South?
I am always ready, Dan. Let's get it started.
Let's do it. So let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. First question of the night, best off-season addition. Mike, if you don't mind, I'm going to take the header on this one. I'm going to go with, now this is maybe going for the low-hanging fruit, but I'm going to go with Jalen Walker, 15th overall pick, first round, linebacker out of Georgia. One of the most athletic players in this entire draft class. Very versatile defensive weapon. He can play off-ball linebacker. He could drop into coverage. He could play against the run. He's an excellent edge rusher. And Atlanta has always needed pass rush up. I feel like they're always adding at least one edge rusher every single offseason. This offseason, they went all in. They drafted Jalen Walker 15th overall. Then later on, they traded back into the first round. They doubled down on edge rusher, and they took James Pierce 26th overall. Now, they traded next year's first-round pick to move up to get Pierce at 26. It's a little rich for my blood. I don't like trading future picks like that when your team is or worse, and that's pretty much where the Falcons fall at this point. They might be good in their division, but outside of that, they're not too impressive. But regardless, Jalen Walker was a huge addition. He should start immediately at outside linebacker in their 3-4 front. And it was either him. For me, it was either him or James Pierce. But who do you think was their top?
I think it has to be Jalen Walker. So I agree with you completely here. And this is a football team, like you said, seems to grab edge rushers all the time. They took 2 in the draft this year. I mean, they seem to grab them all the time, but they still seem to not be able to get to the quarterback at all. So
exactly.
That's a worry. And I would say Jalen Walker, I think, is by far the best addition here. I think this is a football team that they have some talent, but I don't know. The front office would concern me if I was a Falcons fan over the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I like the pieces, the individual pieces on both sides of the ball for this team. But aside from Jalen Walker, Mike, what do you think was the biggest loss of this team for this offseason?
The biggest loss for the Atlanta Falcons?
Because for me, I think there's a couple, I think, on the defensive side that stand out.
I think this. My take would be Drew Dahlman because he's a center.
Okay.
He was your starting center. Now you have to replace that starting center. I think Grady Jarrett, Rondell Moore, you had Lorenzo Carter. But to me, the guy that stands out is the center, and that's Drew Dahlman.
Okay. That took me by surprise, I'm not going to lie, but I like it.
Not that I think he's like a great center, but, he's a dude that he joined the Bears at free agency. He's probably got a really good shot to start for a bad Bears offensive line. Yep. So I'm just going to go with Dahlman there because I think he's probably better than what they could replace him with.
They gave Chicago gave that man $26.5 million guaranteed. So
it's Chicago, though. It's like if Cleveland gives you $25 million guaranteed, it doesn't mean you can play because how much money did they guarantee Deshaun Watson?
Very good point. I'm going to go. There was a couple of defensive players that stood out to me. One was Justin Simmons, the safety, and the other one is Grady Jarrett, the interior defensive line. Again, I feel like it's going for the low-hanging fruit, but despite the fact that he's 32 years old, he still almost played 70% of the snaps on the defensive line for the Falcons. You always need that interior push. They're going to a 3-4 front this year, and let's be completely honest, they don't really have the horses up front to do it. I like Ruka Rokoro, and I like Brandon Dorlus, the 2 defensive linemen they drafted last year. They've got some rotational pieces, but are they really going to stop the run up front? Are they going to get any push inside from guys like Morgan Fox and Zach Harrison? I'm not convinced. But I think Grady Jarrett was a huge loss there, not only production wise, despite the age, but also leadership wise. Um, which leads us to our next one, non-first round rookie who will make the most impact in their rookie season. Mike, I'm going to jump in this one. There's two guys that stand out. They only had 5 draft picks, I think. So we don't really have that many to choose from. I'm thinking I'm going to pick one, and you might pick the other. So I'm going to give you who I think might be your boy, but I love him too. But I'm going to go with Billy Bowman. And I'm going to go with Billy Bowman Jr. because he is most likely to see playing time early, particularly at the nickel position. They've got D. Alford there, nice vet. He's been with the team, but he's nothing special. Billy Bowman is more of a safety, but he definitely has a versatility to play nickelback, and he's a sure tackler. I think he'll fit perfectly in a slot for him. And I think there's an avenue for him to start as a rookie on the inside with Mike Hughes, and AJ Terrell on the outside at corner.
All right, I'm going to go with Xavier Watts, the Notre Dame safety. I like Watts a lot. I think he's a guy. He's a guy that's got to kind of get himself under control at times. He has a tendency to over pursue, maybe take a bad angle or here or there. But I think he is exceptional at play recognition when you watch him, and that's a huge thing if you're a safety. So I think with some good, solid coaching, I think Watts could be a star within the first couple of years of his career. And I mean, he is a serious dog in basically coverage situations, and he is extremely good at baiting quarterbacks. And like I said, when the only thing that I come up with that I don't like about a dude is that sometimes he gets a little over aggressive when pursuing plays. I want that guy. I want that guy. So I mean, the angles need to get a little bit better. But I don't know when I say over aggressive that I believe anybody could ever be over aggressive in a football game, but that's what I'm saying right
now. Now, finally, Mike, did this team get better?
Hey, real quick, we got Michael Houghton says, "Hi guys, we're continuing to raise money for me and my football team as we go to Lucas Oil to play the Atlas Rattlers from Fort Worth, Texas, our second game of the season." So thank you, Michael. Let's go on. Did they get better or did they get worse, Dan?
I think the Atlanta Falcons got better. I really do. I like the draft class. I like the offseason additions. Otherwise, Leonard Floyd, for example, stands out. They needed a veteran edge rusher. They got him. Ford, like I said, should start at corner. Morgan Fox should be one of the starters or very heavy rotational guy on the defensive line. So they did what they had to do this offseason. They extended guys like Jake Matthews, who's a key cog on their offensive line. So I think this team got better. And if Penix can be what they expect him to be, what his draft status expects him to be, this team could very well win the division. It's not an amazing division. So they might be the one team that knocks Tampa Bay off.
And Tampa Bay's won the last 4 divisional crowns. And I think a couple teams here got significantly better. We're probably going to talk about the next one. I think got significantly better next, since we're going in alphabetical order. I can guess that, unless Dan's going by maybe the nickname instead. But I think there's no doubt Atlanta got better. The question is, can Michael Penix stay healthy? Michael Penix is a good quality quarterback, and he's a good person. He's a great leader in the locker room. I mean, this is a dude that had Indiana, in, 2020, ranked 9th at the end of the season. So Michael Penix is a good quarterback. I think the question is, not a lot of experience there. And really, if Kirk Cousins doesn't get banged up last year halfway through the season, I don't know that Penix would have ever played, because the Falcons looked headed for the playoffs with Cousins until Cousins got banged up. If you watch the quarterback show, they kind of went through that, the injuries he had that he tried to play through. Maybe if they'd have went to Penix 3 or 4 weeks earlier when they knew Cousins had a few issues, maybe they would have made the playoffs, because that team mid-season looked like they were headed in the right direction. I think the Falcons could be a dangerous team, possibly a playoff team this year, Dan.
Perfect. Let's move on to the Carolina Panthers, because we're going to break down the Falcons more later on when we go over the NFC for our preseason predictions. But let's go on to the Carolina Panthers. Best off-season addition for the Panthers. Mike, there's a couple.
I think there's a handful here.
I mean
they went out and got a lot of stuff.
They did a lot of stuff. There's a couple that stand out for me. I don't want to go with the low hanging fruit again, so I'm going to say re-signing Jay Horn, their corner on the outside. They gave him a big fat deal this offseason. I think it was very necessary. You need a shutdown, lockdown corner on the outside. One of the premier positions in the NFL. The man's now making $25 million a year. They gave him $46 million guaranteed. So kudos to them. They're trying to build this defense. They did also pay, I think last offseason, they paid Derek Brown, their defensive lineman. He got hurt partway through the season. It affected their entire defense. But all that aside, Horn was a great move to extend him. And I didn't want to go for low hanging fruit this time.
All right, I'm going to go with McMillan. I know he's a draft pick, but I think Bryce Young has shown that with better coaching and a better situation that he can play football in the NFL. And I think he can. Now, it doesn't mean I think he's going to be an elite quarterback, but I think he could be a solid starter in this league. You went out and you got McMillan, who has size. He has the ability to dominate 50-50 balls, which you always want. I think that's a perfect fit for Young's development. So I'm going to go with McMillan, the first-round pick, because I think he's going to do big things right away in Atlanta.
McMillan,
Carolina.
Okay. I mean, that was my low-hanging fruit one. I thought that was.
I just figured I'd take it because it's obvious that if neither one of us says it, then the low-hanging fruit makes us look like morons. Robert Carter is here, and Robert says, go. We already know the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, Robert.
All right,
hey,
so
real quick, IU show. First IU show of the new era in Indiana basketball will be live at 2:30 tomorrow. So, Michael, Robert, make sure you check out the Indiana basketball show. Go ahead, Dan.
Mike, my next question. Here we go. Biggest loss for the Carolina Panthers this offseason. And I feel kind of weird because did they really lose anything of serious importance?
Not really. I mean, there's nothing here that stands out. I mean, this is a team that I think did a tremendous job in the offseason, and they needed to because there were some holes there. So I don't see anything here that I think is a huge loss, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier Woods stands out only because he played 100% of the snaps. But other than
doesn't
that,
mean you're good just because you played 100% of the snaps.
True. So let's move on quick then. That's easy. Third question, non-first round rookie who will make immediate impact in their rookie season. Now, honestly, I really like this draft class. And
I agree.
And I think there's no less than, outside of T-Mac McMillan, I think there's no less than 4 or 5 rookies who could play valuable roles this season. So, Mike, why don't you take this? I'm curious to see which one of them you go with.
So I'm trying to make up my mind right now. Just for surprise purpose, I'll say Mitchell Evans, the tight end out of Notre Dame.
Nice.
Because every quarterback, especially a young quarterback, what do they always say? The quarterback's favorite security blanket if you're a young guy is a tight end. And this was one of the best, I think, tight end draft classes we've seen in a long time. And I expect Mitchell Evans to actually get significant playing time. And actually, he's a very good blocker. He's a solid pass catcher. He could do it all. I mean, he's not going to be a superstar. He may not be a Pro Bowler, but this is a good, solid addition to this football team. And like I said, when you combine him with your first-round wide receiver, you gave Bryce Young some weapons to work with.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Tremble I think he's actually still injured, but he's coming off injury. Jatavion Sanders, who they drafted last year in the 4th round out of Texas, nothing really there the rookie year. So there is an avenue if Mitchell Evans can be useful at least as a blocker. They'll be playing time there for him for sure. I like that. That's a nice little sleeper. I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit on this one. I'm gonna go with Nick Scourton or even Prince Umanamilia.
Or you could even go Trevor Etienne. This is a very good draft.
It is, and I also like Lathan Ransom, the safety.
Same thing here. There's really nobody here I look at and think I don't like them at that pick, at least, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like even Jimmy Horn from Colorado is a solid receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. A little undersized, but speedy dude. And Adam Thielen's 100 years old. He's got one foot out the door already, so why not? Maybe they can find something for Jimmy Jr. Okay, we're gonna get the Carolina Panthers done quick. Final question: did they get better, get worse, or stay the same? I think it's obvious they got better. I don't think it's better enough to make the playoffs, but if Bryce Young could take that next step, anything's possible.
They nailed the draft, and we've seen teams that nailed the draft, nailed the offseason. You could turn this around quickly in the NFL. I think this is a team that can contend to win 8 or 9 games. And we've seen when the Buccaneers won this division 4 years in a row, a couple of those seasons they won it were with just 8 or 9 wins. So that can be done. Now, I do think Tampa Bay, we're going to talk about them in a minute. I think offensively, Tampa Bay is going to be really good. So I don't know that Carolina makes the playoffs this year, but one more really good offseason and draft, and this team could find themselves as one of the best teams in the NFC in a heartbeat.
This defense plays differently when Derek Brown's healthy. So as long as he comes back and he's 100%, if they can get anything out of one of these young edge rushers, if they can get any better, because honestly, they were the worst defense in the NFL last season. They were 32nd, I think, in scoring, 32nd in total offense. I think they were 32nd against the run. Like they were really, really bad. So there's nowhere to go but up. The key though is key guys staying healthy. Brown, Horn, etc. Yes. So let's move on. New Orleans Saints.
Ooh.
Number 1, best off-season addition. Now, I'll start us on this one. Kind of slim pickings because
they didn't do a damn thing.
I don't really like their season that much.
Yeah, this team's a mess. This team's getting the first round pick in the draft possibly the next year.
They might, and it wouldn't surprise absolutely anyone. I mean, maybe Kelvin Banks could be their best offseason addition, only because he was a top 10 pick and their 11th overall pick, or 9th overall pick, and he should start somewhere on the offensive line, preferably at left tackle, I guess. But other than that, none of their free agents bring anything special for me. Brandon Cooks is old, 32 years old receiver. I guess he'll be there.
How about this? Tell me what was their worst loss, because just tell us their worst loss, because I don't really see anything here that.
I mean, you know what? Their biggest loss, I think, is the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. He retired today. He was a leader on this defense. Also,
I know he was with the Cardinals too, but NFL, I think he was 12th year. Yeah. Time goes fast anymore, Dan.
Yeah, time flies, dude. I remember when he was playing at LSU. I'm getting old. Oh no.
I remember when Burt Jones played at LSU, so you probably don't even know who Burt Jones is. Oh. So
I do not know.
How could you not know who Burt Jones is, but yet do an NFL show?
I don't know who Burt Jones is.
Burt Jones is a stud. You need to look it up.
I will Google Burt Jones later. But yeah, biggest loss, I'll say Tyrann.
I was trying to get to that. If you didn't, then I could have, because I remember I saw it was tweeted out today. And I think maybe he just retired because he thought this is going to be a wasted season to play.
I mean, Paulson Adebo also stands out. Free agent corner, went to the Giants. He was hurt last year, but he's a good young piece, 26 years old. The Giants gave him $18 million a year, so obviously they expect him to come back healthy and come back and do big things. So 2 losses in the secondary, big problem. Now, non-first round rookie who will make the most impact in their rookie season. I think there's an obvious one.
I don't know. Do you want me to go first or what?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
To tell you the truth, I like Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma, the linebacker. I think him, Sean Sanker, Quincy Riley, they all add depth. They all can start this year. I mean, I don't know if that's promising or not. I mean, you got Tyler Shaw from Louisville, but my issue with him is everybody says he's the most NFL-ready guy, but it took him 7 years in college to have that season that got him drafted.
Yeah, I'm not on that Tyler Shaw.
Well, he's better than Shedeur Sanders.
Just because the guy's old doesn't mean he's NFL ready necessarily. He's 26
That's
years
not
old
old.
as a NFL rookie. That's
How old was
old
Kurt
for an
Warner when
NFL
he was
rookie.
a rookie?
That's
How's it
different
different?
because he took
Yeah,
a
he played
different
in the
route,
Arena Football
but
League
he
after he
played
got cut from an NFL team.
happens. It happens to
Not too
the
many.
best of them. It was a Disney story, fucking Hallmark story. But anyway, yeah, I'm not on the Tyler Shuck train. I knew he was going to be a second round pick, second or at worst third round pick because of the need at the position around the league. But
How about this?
I'm not
I
buying
think
it. For
this. I
me,
think he could beat out Spencer Rattler. I think he could beat a starter, but
well, yeah,
he's
I
just
think
a
he could be a
guy.
starter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he'll be a starter potentially early, but I'm not expecting anything special out of him. For me, I'm going to say
I
Devin
like
Neal, the
Devin Neal
Kansas
too. That
running
was
back.
my second pick after Stutzman.
I'm a huge Devin Neal fan. I love his potential in the pass game. I think he went to the perfect offense for his skills. And honestly, Alvin Kamara is almost a guarantee to miss some time. Kendra Miller missed a bunch of time last year and hasn't really done anything otherwise, even when healthy. And he was only a third round pick. So if he gets hurt again, or if he doesn't do anything in the offseason or in training camp, I don't see any reason why Devin Neal can't take that number two running back spot coming out of even training camp possibly. And if things go well during the season, Devin Neal should see some time when Alvin
Well,
Kamara
how about
inevitably
this?
misses
I mean, if you're the
games.
Saints, why would you just try to shop Alvin Kamara? I mean, this
I mean, they
team's
might,
dead
they
right now.
should.
I mean, they have to do a total rebuild. And I think this draft outside of the quarterback in the second round was not a bad draft.
No, I like the pieces. I like the defensive pieces they got brought in on the D line. Stutzman, you mentioned. I love that they got Diggs in the seventh round. I think that was a steal coming out of Syracuse. You said Sanker, Quincy Riley at corner, like a lot of young pieces. I like it. I like
But
it a
the
lot.
problem is they
That's
need
what you
about
got to do in
100
your butt.
pieces.
Yeah, they're a couple seasons away, and I don't know if I trust. I don't know if I trust Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley to kind of be the
No,
leaders of
why would you
this
even
new
say that?
era.
This team is a mess. They'll both get fired when this year's over. Then they'll bring in the guy to coach whoever the first quarterback they want to pick is.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes, unfortunately.
Well, no, that's how it goes when you pick guys that are unqualified to be your head coach. But go ahead.
Nice. Okay, so we're actually
Let's
making
keep making
really
good
good time
I
on
got
the
stuff
NFC.
to do tonight, Dan.
All right, let's do it. Tampa Bay, final one, finishing strong. Best off-season addition or best off-season move. Mike, I'm going to take this one, and this is a team that didn't really add anything, I think, special, at least through
I think
free
the draft they
agency.
did though.
They had a really good draft.
Yeah.
I like a lot of their draft pieces that they got in that class, but I'm not going to go with Egbuka because I think that was more of a luxury pick. I don't think they needed to take a wide receiver in the middle of the first round. I'm not really sure what they were thinking, unless they have some inside information that Godwin is not going to be there at the start of the season, maybe even to midseason or something like that, or there's some sort of a problem with their recovery. Because if Godwin's healthy, you still do have Mike Evans. I get it. You want to plan for the future. Evans is getting up there in age. He's in his 30s.
I
Same thing
actually
with
think it's
Godwin,
a
and
really good
Godwin
pick.
has
I really
issues.
think that the kid's going to be a
I,
stud.
I like I love the player. I love the fit if he's going to play out of the slot for them, but that's Godwin's spot. That's why I'm a little confused
Well,
with the
neither
fit.
one of those
I know
receivers are getting any younger, and they both have had some injury issues.
I mean, I think Egbuka can play on the outside. It's just his role was in the slot, and I think in college mostly, and I think that's where he would succeed in the league. But I'm going to go with re-signing Levante David. He's been there forever. He's 35 years old. There was a chance that he was going to retire this offseason. He's been a leader on this defense, and he'll continue to be moving forward. And yeah, they didn't really add much other
And the
than
problem
that.
there is he's in his 14th year, and eventually he's not going to have anything left, and you're never going to know when that comes. So, what do you think about Hassan Reddick here?
I mean, it's worth a shot because they did need edge rushing help. They don't really have much to do there, but what are you really
See, this
expecting
is
out
the
of him
thing,
at
though.
this
To
point?
me, I think Tampa Bay is clearly the best team in this division still because that offense, those receivers are pretty good. And that secondary, I think, is one of the best units in the NFL in this upcoming season. You've got Levante David, if he's got anything left on the second level. So I still think overall, I mean, I'm not sure I'm going to pick them to win the division yet. But just from looking at it on paper, they would have to be the favorite here, Dan.
I mean, they have a lot of talent on both sides, and they're
And they've
going
got a
for it.
legit
That's why you
quarterback
bring
that
in a
threw
guy
for
like
over
Hassan
4,000
Reddick.
yards last year. Nobody else has that. You have questions with everybody else.
Now, I do have concerns. Like this team might win the division, but is this team actually going
We're
to
only
be any
talking about
good
winning the
against good
division right now,
teams?
Dan.
I know, but Tristan Wirfs, for example, is
Yeah.
already hurt. We don't know when he's coming back. Their left tackle. That's a huge loss. He's one of the best, if not the best, left tackle in the NFL, arguably. That's a huge loss, and they gave him a big fat contract. Then they have nothing else to speak of in terms of depth. Charlie Heck is currently slated to be projected to be their starting left tackle.
I would say this,
That's
though.
ugly.
When you
And let's
look
be
at,
completely honest,
when you
their
just say
line
the
is
names
anything
Spencer
special.
Rattler, Bryce Young, and Michael Penix, I would say that's why Tampa Bay would have to be the favorite. I don't think there's any team here that's near being a Super Bowl team. Or a team that can even make it to
No,
a
definitely
championship
not.
game, or a team that could probably make it to the divisional playoff round. And if there is, that's because Baker Mayfield gets hot in the wild card game and makes it to the next round before they get beat. Because I do think you and a lot of people sleep on how good Baker Mayfield is, especially he's going to be on his third coordinator in 3 years. And Josh Grizzard, if you look at the resume, I mean, he's been a quality control mode.
Rizzy.
He's been a quality control coach most places he's been. But then again, Baker Mayfield made Liam Cohen look good enough to get a head coaching job for a year. You notice I said for
That
a
is
year,
true.
right?
Now, I was going to gloss by that, but yes. Okay, so we're moving on from the off-season edition or whatever. Biggest loss?
The
Anything
biggest
stand out to
loss
you?
for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I
Because for me, no one really.
would say Liam Cohen, even though I don't think he really did that much great stuff. But I don't like the Josh Grizzard hiring an offensive coordinator. That really, because when you pull up Josh Grizzard's resume, it is Panthers team intern, Yale student assistant, Duke graduate assistant, quality control coach, Miami Dolphins quality control coach. And he was a quality control coach for the Dolphins for like 3 years. He was a wide receivers coach for a year and then got demoted back to offensive quality control coach. Then he was the passing game coordinator last year for Tampa Bay. And now he's the offensive coordinator. That is not a stacked resume to me. And that would worry me.
Okay, so questions with the offensive coordinator, biggest loss there. How about? Well, for me, I wrote down Whitehead, the safety.
Yeah, and I think
But
this. I think with Bouquet, I mean, all indication he's not going to be ready to start. And Chef Vance says he heard some local reports. Godwin won't be ready for camp and may miss some time early. So I think they're kind of hedging their bets. And I think the bet is this, that if you give Baker Mayfield enough receivers, you can score enough points to still make the playoffs. The problem is this team's not going much past that.
now, how about the non-first round rookie who will make their biggest impact in their rookie season? Now, for this class, there's 4 guys. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, all 5 of these guys could do something. But who are you going to
Tampa
list?
Bay. I like to say Tampa Bay like that. Dude, I like. I think this is one of the best drafts we saw this year.
Agreed.
So I think you could pick almost any of these guys. You wouldn't be too far off. I really like Benjamin Morrison. I mean, the thing is, when you watched him against Ohio State, it wasn't like Ohio State just lit up that Notre Dame secondary. That was a close game. They pulled away in the fourth quarter, if I remember right. So I would say Benjamin Morrison.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I listed Morrison, but I'm gonna go with another guy, Jacob Parrish, the other corner that they drafted. Uh, let's be completely honest. They have some solid pieces in the secondary, but they could use a little help at nickelback. I don't trust Christian Ezien at that position. I think they want to move Tyke Smith back to safety, who was playing nickelback for them a lot this past season. And that's where Jacob Parrish steps in. He's a good tackler. He's good in short areas. I think he could start on the outside in the pros as well. But I think as a rookie, at least early on, the nickel is where he's
Yeah,
going to
and I really think this team, I
Um,
think Morrison and Parrish are both going to be guys that start for this team within a couple of years. And if they could do that this year, you may have the defense and the offense. If you could get Godwin back by midseason healthy, you may be able to make some noise. But I just don't really see it. But I do think the possibility. Put it like this: if any of these teams are all of a sudden going to jump up and do something, it would be the Bucks. But there's a lot of stuff that has to go right for that to happen.
I mean, I think they're the closest of any of these other teams. I think they need less to go right than maybe you think, only because they do have a lot of
Yeah,
really
and
good
you've
veteran
got a
pieces
legit
sprinkled
quarterback.
around. You do have a legit top 10 starting quarterback, which is what you need to be useful in this league. I love their running backs. I love Kadon at tight end. They have maybe the best 1, 2, 3 at wide receiver if Godwin is healthy this year. And even if he's not, Jalen McMillan is still a solid option. They took him in the third round last year. I thought because of the presence of McMillan, they didn't need a guy like Emeka Egbuka in the first round. But McMillan as a wide receiver 4, they might have the best 1 through 4 wide receivers in the league if these guys are all healthy. So yeah, the Bucks will make some noise, but with all that, did this team get better, worse, or stay the same pretty much?
I really like the draft, so I'm going to say that I think that they got better. I mean, I don't know how much better. I know it may be more of almost a lateral move, but I mean, Morrison Parrish, I really like. I think Hassan Riddick's worth a shot. I think Egbuka is one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in this draft. So I think it's hard with seeing that to say that they're not. They brought Levante David back, but I just don't know that it's enough to get him out of the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if it's enough to get him to the playoffs, just according to how Carolina can gel and how Atlanta can gel.
So yeah, so my Chef Vance here. I've heard some local reports Godwin won't be ready
that like 5 minutes ago, Dan. Come on.
No, I know, but I wanted to mention it because that's
it is important here. But
that
what about this? If
consider.
you lose him and you got Egbuka, you might get better. Because I think Egbuka has the potential here to be better than Godwin. The question is, can he in his rookie year?
If he's going to miss a few weeks to start, then yeah, why not? Now, final question: which team had the best offseason of all these 4 teams?
Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons. I really love the fact that they doubled up. I hate trading a future first, but I love doubling down on an obvious need that they've been trying to settle for what feels like forever. And I love Watts at safety. I love Bowman in the secondary. This team's ready to win this division. Do you have any other things about the NFC South?
I have absolutely nothing. It's the most boring division in football.
Most boring division in football. I think that's the AFC South, honestly.
I don't know. I think that anything south, it just sucks.
AFC South is awful. But anyway.
The NFC South is not great either. Now I think there's more potential the NFC South could be a lot better than the AFC South, though. Because I think the Colts and the Jaguars are gonna suck. The Texans, I mean, they've got a solid coach. They got CJ Stroud.
A lot of it will depend on what happens with Stroud this year. But let's put a bow. Let's call it a night. We are going to wrap things up. We'll be doing the NFC South reloaded at some point in the next week?
We just did the NFC South.
Or NFC West, sorry.
NFC West, we could try it Sunday night if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do
That'd
Sunday
be 9
night.
o'clock Sunday night. Then we'll
9
have
o'clock
a
Sunday
pretty
night.
little bow, as you would say, on everything.
We'll finish the final division, and then we can focus on predictions in the coming year. I'm so excited about that. And then our quarterback rankings before the season starts. It's going to be crazy. That's going to be an
No,
awesome.
it's not. It's just Joe Burrow's 1, Patrick Mahomes is 2, and everybody else is below them.
It's going to be an amazing episode, and I'm very
Jaden
excited.
Daniels at number 3.
I'm very excited. That's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Chef Vance, Robert Carter, Michael Houghton. Thank you guys all for tuning in. If you guys want to give us a like, a follow, share on all your social medias, subscribe, etc., do all that wonderful stuff. We'd appreciate it. Send us any questions or concerns. We'll touch on them next week or on Sunday, whatever. For my Goodpaster, I'm Dan Kornhauser. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good night.